Oh, now it's live.
Hello, everybody. We made it on the air. Welcome to Head
Woo-hoo!
Radio, back in the Florida studio. I hope everybody's having themselves a good end of the week. And
Oh,
we've got a show
fantastic.
in front of us here that is going to be interesting, to say the least. And today, the Reverend Moohead gives his eulogy of the Cleveland Guardians. And that's we'll start out the program that way, and then we'll be looking at the remnants of the Vikings versus the remnants of the Browns that will be playing somewhere in a foreign place,
in a foreign land, on a foreign field.
But first, we'll bring in Dick Goddard.
Dick Goddard,
the famed weather forecaster for Northeast Ohio. Hi, Bronk. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
You know, I am too. I was waiting for those buzzards in Hinckley again.
Wow, the buzzards.
That's like, it gives me a Woody. Although rigor mortis set in a long time ago.
I missed the buzzards in Hinckley.
So do I. Very much so. And the swallows. And I don't mean the ones in Capistrano. I mean from my wife.
Exactly. I missed
at any rate, tomorrow's forecast in sunny London, England. Sunday. I told you I haven't gotten much sleep. A high of 16 degrees, but don't worry, that's Celsius, which translates into
degrees.
What? 60 degrees and a moderate breeze with sunny intervals. I went out with a girl named Sunny Intervals once.
Yes. Yeah, that was Sonny Bono's original first name, was Sunny Interval. Yes. So yes, the moderate winds are about 15 miles an hour. So whether that will cause a swirling effect inside of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and those of you who are not familiar with Tottenham Hotspur, that's the team that Ted Lasso went to coach on his first appearance in the English Premier League. So there you go.
And now it's time for the Reverend Moohead and his eulogy to the Cleveland Guardians. This and I'm starting out with something that was written by the great Terry Pluto.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
He is. He is. He is a Hall
of Famer.
Here's his quote, his headline. For the Guardians, let's remember, they weren't supposed to be here in the playoffs.
They weren't. Right? No, I said they shouldn't be.
Now, I'm going to take those words, weren't supposed to be here, into a different context. And in this instance, it's Shawshank Redemption. Let's see if I can do this. I'm not supposed to be here. Shut up, fat ass. Okay. Wow. If you've seen the movie, you know what scene, and that's when the warden beats him to death. And that was fat ass.
Yeah.
And what he was crying about was the inmates were gambling on who was going to be the first of the new fish in the prison to get fucked. Okay? I'm not supposed to be here. So that's what Terry Pluto's explanation for the Guardians is. But the Reverend Moohead wants to show a little bit of respect for this team.
Sure.
And I really think that we deserve to go over this fairly quickly, but I want to start with the players, Austin Hedges, who, if you give him a bat, he's not sure what to do with it. And we're going to miss him. Bo Naylor, who refused to move his body to block pitches so that he could try to pick them and backhand them behind home plate. Gosh, what a surprise that he didn't go further. And Gabriel Arias, the guy who has the great power to the opposite field, but never hits it that way. And then there's Kyle Manzardo, who basically said, my bat felt a lot lighter in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho than it did here in Cleveland, and I really think that the bat was leaded. No, Kyle, you never had that many at-bats in your life, and you need to work on your conditioning because they were blowing fastballs by you. And it was blue by you. And then there's Angel Martinez, the forgotten one. The forgotten one. And I'm going to add Brian to this. And I'm glad we have the music to go along with this.
Thank you.
Holy crap, do we have a fish basket sighting?
It's a solemn moment, Brian. We're burying the Guardians.
Yes, we are. Angel Martinez, the forgotten man. He used to play for the Guardians sometime this year, and he just disappeared. His photograph is on the side of a milk carton if anybody sees him. And then there's the patron saint of lost causes, Jose Ramirez. His name should not have been Jose, it should have been Jesus, because he gave up his career to help a bozo organization. I want you to know that I'm not reading any of this. This is off the top of my head because I am Reverend Moohead. Then there's Brian Rocchio, whose name rhymes with Pinocchio. But only did he occasionally get wood on the ball. And Brian had a few big hits. But then the real problem was that he would still make blundering, mysterious errors in the field for no apparent reason. And the late Daniel Schneemann, nobody yet knows what position he plays. But he was out there giving it his all, which wasn't enough. Chase DeLauder. Chase waited and waited and waited through injuries and waited and finally got his chance when it was too late. But Chase serves a purpose for the Guardians. He will be the name who's talked about, who will hit 224 next year. Petey Halpin. Petey Halpin is somebody who should never have even been in the big leagues, but because they just couldn't come up with enough names, they couldn't come up with enough bodies to play at the major league level at the positions, they needed to bring up a pinch runner. And people are still arriving late to this eulogy. Amber Time is now welcome into our service. Turn the music down, please. Thank you. This is the Reverend Moohead, and if you've walked into Moohead Radio, this is the eulogy for the Cleveland Guardians. Petey Halpin, who they won't let swing the bat, but will let him try to run to the bases. But the problem is, the only way he's on base is if he's a pinch runner. And who could forget C.J. Kapis, who waited and waited and waited and waited, and they kept telling us he wasn't ready and he wasn't ready. And then in the most two important games of the season, they threw him on the big stage. He was suddenly ready because Stephen Vogt was out of ideas. And then there's Stephen Kwan, who's wondering if he's using Kyle Manzardo's bat. in the second half of the season. Because everything he hits is popped straight up in the air. And Steven, we're going to miss you in Cleveland. And our loss will probably be somebody else's gain. And then there's the man who's called Big Christmas, but I call him Big Christmas Breeze because it's cold, it's ineffective, and he screws himself into the ground when he swings the bat because there's never contact. John Kenzie Noel, who could forget his breakdancing maneuvers at first base? And then his virtual twin, Jonathan Rodriguez. And we sat and we watched and said, who is this asshole? Wait a minute, that's not Big Christmas. This is Jonathan Rodriguez. But the result was the same. And the final name I wanted to read off this of the position players is George Valera. George Valera, a man who's been in the minor leagues for 8 years. What an opportunity for him to witness what it is to have soul-crushing losses and to be part of it and to be able to say to himself, I was part of a losing cause. Oh, but that's not all. We have the pitchers now. Gavin Williams, the big rig. Gavin played well. And that's why he's destined to be waiting to leave the Guardians at virtually any time his contract allows him to. And then there's Tanner Bybee. He of the overly emotion, the emotional loss of control, up in the strike zone, out of the park. 85 pitches after 4 innings. And who could forget Slade Ciccone, because he was the appointed one to take over for the Fat Boy Naylor. He was what we got in return. And you know what he gave us in return? A last appearance that we will never forget, where he was obviously so bad that Stephen Vogt actually knee-jerked him out of the game. What a horrible way to end a season. Colby Allard, a left-hander. Colby got to pitch because everybody was afraid that if he didn't, Matt Festa would. It's just a sad thing when the only reason you're in the game is to prevent Matt Festa from coming to the mound. Then there's Jacob Junis. And Jacob Junis has been all over the league. And there's a reason for that. Because he doesn't have a good fastball, he doesn't have a good breaking ball, and his control is questionable. And then Joey Cantillo. Joey loves that off-speed pitch, and so do the Detroit hitters. My goodness, it was only a matter of time until he hung one of those. And boy, did it go. Then the aforementioned Matt Festa. Playing for a team destined to lose, he still could barely make it onto the field. Because Stephen Vogt realized that if it came to that point, he would look up to the sky and say, Armageddon! Armageddon! Tim Herron. Tim has what they call a pitch that moves around a lot. He's got a lot of movement on his pitch, but he can't control it. So he's kind of like a telekinetic person, but he can't choose what he's telekinetically moving. He can come in and strike out 3 men in a row, and then he can hit 3 people in a row, or walk 3 people in a row. Anything's possible for Tim. Hunter Gaddis, Well, what can we say about Hunter Gaddis? If you keep putting him in over and over again, obviously, he had what we call dead arm syndrome. And his last showing for the season did not fool anybody, especially Terry Pluto. Eric Sabrowski. Eric Sabrowski is a person who should have grown up in Parma. Eric Sabrowski is a left-handed pitcher who did a fine job when called upon until the fateful moment that he stopped. Game 3. And that will forever be the slogan of this team, Game 3. And then the dead-armed Cade Smith. Cade Smith came to me earlier in his confessional, and he said to me, "Who is Vinny Pestano, and why is he in my dreams?" And I had to tell him that if you make 85 appearances over a season, that's what happens to you. That, and you start gambling on games to get thrown out of the league. I just want to say we all owe a debt of gratitude to these men, and finally to Stephen Vogt himself, and to the ownership of the Cleveland Guardians. And you know that better things are ahead when the Dolan family opens up the till. If they were the ones contributing to my church, I'd be flat on my ass. Thank you. And there it is, the eulogy for the 2025 Cleveland Guardians. And thank you for the music, Maestro. I appreciate
That one
it.
part where you were talking about somebody was guessing at something. I had the flash of Bill Murray as Peter Venkman in Ghostbusters when he's doing the little card trick.
Right.
And he's telling the girl, "Oh yeah, you got it. Oh yeah."
Oh,
And
man.
the other kid was actually getting
Zap.
it right and getting zapped.
Here's something that is what Stephen Wright, the former comedian, would have said.
He's dead too, I think.
He is. But he's from the afterlife, he would say this. No, he would say, if the Mets and the Guardians were the teams playing in the playoffs, they'd still be playing. There's not a winner between those two teams. They would end up, it would be a 78-inning game that they'd have to call day after day after day because of darkness or because of weather, because neither team could possibly win.
Like when I was a young kid, I used to dream about what baseball must have been like before Babe Ruth, the dead ball era. Now we don't have to wonder anymore. Just watch the Guardians. It's like watching the 1906 Cubs versus the Cleveland Spiders or whatever. It is dead ball baseball.
Well, it's funny because I actually heard people saying that the Dolans are the worst owners in Cleveland. And I'm sitting there saying, no, Jimmy Haslam is. Because Jimmy Haslam has so much more money to work with, and it doesn't matter.
He fucks it up.
He fucks it up. That's exactly right. The Guardians, on the other hand, even if they did have money, they wouldn't spend it. I mean,
they get more value per win out of their money than any other team in Cleveland.
They're just not going to win anything of significance. And you just have to, as long as you understand that, and the other thing that was funny about this was, I was making comments about Believe Land. I don't like that word when it's, used toward the Guardians, because if there were so many people who believed, wouldn't they come to the fucking game? And I know people are saying, well, the game is in the afternoon, and it's on a weekday and people have to work. It's like Cleveland metropolitan statistical area has 1.2 million people in it. You
Million
fucking
people.
cocksucking assholes.
I actually
I mean-
have one to contribute on this point. In 48, when they
Correct,
won the
48.
series,
Yes.
my dad at 9 years old skipped fucking school to go to the World Series games with 3 of his fucking classmates. Don't give me that bullshit. And the population of Cleveland was a hell of a lot less then.
Well, yeah, the metro
I think it
area
was bigger
definitely.
back then.
Yeah,
The
and-
actual city, but metro area, you're right. it's small.
1.2 million, and all you're trying to do is to get like 38,000 or whatever the house holds, and you can't do that. You're stuck at 26,000. It's like, and this is the big game that you were waiting for. 26,000 fucking people, And with that, we'll bring in somebody who understands the concept. Dwayne Stat.
Dwayne Stat.
You know,
got a new
I see
owner.
the same thing over and over again, Bronk. Down here in Tampa, now they're trying to get a whole new stadium, and I'm telling you, this is a problem because nobody's from here. They end up here, and
Correct.
but one day they wake up in old age and they're in South Florida.
And they're dead.
That's what
Well,
happens to them.
You got new owners down there, too. Some real
So-
estate builder guy bought the team, didn't they?
He doesn't understand. They tried to build a stadium in Clearwater. It doesn't matter where they build it. It's like it's the antithesis of the Kevin Costner movie. Build
You
it
build
and they
it,
will
they'll
come. You build it and they don't come. It's kind of like me in
They're
bed.
too old.
I
Yeah,
don't
too old.
can't come.
Yeah. God
Is that-
almighty.
Is that like end up there? Is that like the girl that was trying to get into porn? You don't get into porn, you end up in porn. That's
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, so information as far as the Cleveland Browns football, which is what we'll be spending the rest of the show on, thank God. But I wanted to give a proper burial to the Guardians. The Vikings on Friday, their left guard, Donovan Jackson, out. Their center,
Out.
Ryan Kelly, out.
Dead.
Their
Niedermeyer,
center, their
dead.
backup center,
Niedermeyer.
Michael Jerkins,
dead.
out.
Marmalard. Dead.
Right tackle Brian O'Neill out. Quarterback JJ McCarthy out. And
Dead.
outside linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel further
Great
out.
name.
Ron,
So-
Ron, were you with me when I was there
Yeah.
with Munch and we were doing that?
Yeah. Dead.
Like the whole damn team. And then they got Carson Wentz at quarterback. The
Carson
Yeah, they do.
Wentz.
ultimately mobile Carson Wentz.
Yeah, well, and we'll get to him in just a moment because the Browns released theirs as well. And
Oh.
Mike Hall
Mike
never
Hall.
gonna play again. No, he never gonna play again. Jack Conklin is questionable. He sure is. He's totally questionable. Why is he playing football still? And Greg Newsome is questionable. You know what happened with Greg Newsome? A molecule hit him.
A
It's like,
molecule. Help me.
Chase Galater was able to play 2 games in a row, so something had to fall.
yeah, exactly. Joel Batonio, fully practiced. Malik Collins, full practice. Grant Delpit, full practice. Myles Garrett, limited practice, but he does that every week. Cornelius Lucas, God damn it, fully
Soul
practiced.
Train.
As we always say, peace,
Peace.
love,
Love.
and soul.
Soul.
Enough of that. And David Njoku, he was a full practice status. So on the first blush, it doesn't look too bad. And for all you people who say, where can I see the game? Don't fuck up. It is on the NFL Network. All right. And
And it's on Channel 5 here in England. It's on over-the-air TV here.
And if you don't have NFL Network, you better find a way to get it. And if you have some of your favorite streaming software, you might be able to find it in multiple places because it's being shown all around the world. So there's
Go to
that.
the bar like the rest of the
Get
team.
yourself a VPN.
O'clock on Sunday morning, right after.
Yeah, go get some chicken wings, and you can do that here in England. You can go get chicken
Go to
wings.
church, leave church, ask the priest where the bar is that has the game on. It's real simple.
Now,
Correct.
you calling the game Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma. That's the way that's going to go.
Vilma! Well,
So we're not facing a team here at the peak of their strength, but
no.
I did want to take a look at the stats of this team. The fact that Carson Wentz has passed for 523 yards, which Joe Flacco was like, wow, really? How do you do that? And he's 44 of 66. He's completing 67% of his passes. He averages almost eight yards a completion. He's averaging 261 yards of yardage per game. His long was an 81-yard pass. He's thrown 4 touchdowns, but he's thrown 2 interceptions. But then the mighty sack number. In 2 games played, he's been sacked 9 times. And their entire offensive line is out.
Here's your setup. 9 times?
What's my setup?
Come on, Mr. Rooney.
9
Ferris
times.
Bueller's day off?
Oh, that movie, I've forgotten about that. I'm senile.
Oh. There's a whole thing about, well, your son's been absent 9 times.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. Well,
that movie featured an actor who grew up in Parma, Ohio, I'll have you know. So there
clear
you go.
eyes.
Well, my parents lived in Parma for a little while.
Did they really?
At the time, my mom taught at Ben Franklin.
Ben Franklin.
The Five and Dime store?
No.
Oh, okay. Just
Yeah,
checking.
I'm sure it's turned into that by now.
Yeah. Now, J.J. McCarthy in the 2 games he played only threw for 301 yards compared to 523 for Carson Wentz. And he had 3 interceptions and only 2 touchdowns. So I don't look at the Carson Wentz thing as being a downgrade for the Vikings because J.J. McCarthy really proved nothing. Carson Wentz has a rating of 98.2, but without a front line, if he tries to stand back in the pocket, the Browns can collapse the pocket and sack him. And that could be strip sacks, that could be turnovers, and all kinds of things. That's the reason why Wentz, there it is. Everyone's doing the Parma polka.
Oh, this one's a different one, but it's similar.
Yeah, that's the one we all know. We don't know the name of it.
Someone stole the
quiche. Someone called the cops. Round and Polly pack. It was sitting on the rack. Okay, enough.
Who stole the quiche? Someone called the cops.
I can't believe I forgot what show this was.
Yeah, well, we have a wide range of knowledge, just none in sports. So, the running game is one man, and that's Mason. He's their guy, 271 yards, 4.8 yards per carry. But there's nobody else really who even amounts to anything in their rushing game, which is really a very interesting thing. Jefferson, of course, is their big receiver. Hawkinson is their tight end, reliable guy. Those 2 guys have 35 targets out of the 70 targets that have gone around. So they have a really good field goal kicker, and that's important because we have Andre Schmidt that we don't know what he is. And
Andre the Zit.
Yeah, we don't know what he is. But the
That was it.
kicking,
Get it?
Reichert is their kicker. He's 8 for 8 this year, including 3 for 3 from 50 plus yards. And I mean, he is nailing it. And again, this becomes significant when you're looking at the final score of a game. How are teams with the Browns at a deficit because they're starting a rookie quarterback who have trouble scoring points, how they get a score, that field goal kicker becomes very, very important. So,
well, and for everybody that's really hopeful, sorry, Tony, I'm going to burst your bubble on a 53-10 Browns win. It's still Kevin Stefanski calling the plays, and Kevin Stefanski designed plays. So,
Well, and to the point that you're talking about with the Vikings offensive line, like the Browns, if they're going to win this game, they got to make it a defensive game. Like that is the only way you're going to come out and win this football game. And the problem is, like you said, starting a rookie quarterback, and I don't know. I haven't been able to watch any of the programs, so I don't know if you've been talking about it, but Kevin Stefanski's offense with Joe so far, if you really pay attention, it's motion every single play, which is good. That's good because it helps a younger quarterback identify who the Mike is and kind of what's going on in the secondary. But the problem is, like you're talking about, if Dylan Gabriel goes out there and has a fucking 60-yard drive and you miss a field goal, what does it matter? What does it matter? And by the way, not to bring up the past, because I'm sure he's already been ripped on enough, but how is it that the Vikings can go out here and evaluate a young kicker and nail it, but for whatever reason the Browns, we've tried with how many young kickers, and we just cannot get it right, and it's just so frustrating.
well, over the past 3 years, I think they've had at least 4 former Browns kickers, including Zane Gonzalez, kicking for them. So,
Are you talking about 4 former Browns on the Vikings, or are you
Yes.
saying, yeah, wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
it's like, that guy was on the Browns. That guy was drafted by the Browns. What the fuck is that guy doing there?
So it wouldn't be a show without a P. Diddy reference. Thank you, Rich. But what I will say,
That's cruel and unusual.
It could be worse.
exactly.
You could have to watch the Jets.
Here's the deal with the rookie quarterback. All the motion that Stefanski likes to use is only important if the quarterback releases the ball to the man who is the intended person. And what's been wrong with Flacco wants to stand in the pocket, and he's not a guy who's going to take what you give him. He's a guy who's going to look downfield, but he doesn't have a twitch factor to get out of the pocket. So once it caves in, it's an avalanche and he gets swallowed under. That's the problem. And the one thing we can say about Dylan Gabriel is he's kind of like the kid who he went through the 3rd grade 4 times. And being a guy, 6-year college quarterback, I don't know.
Wow.
I mean, that is pretty unusual. But if you give him a system to work in and say, this is a motion offense, there's going to be a lot of pre-snap motion, including your offensive line, that will result in penalties. But what you got to do is you've got to find the guy underneath, and you got to read. If the downfield guys are just clearing out, you got to get the ball to David Njoku, because we're not doing it. And it's no coincidence that we're not getting the ball to him, because Joe Flacco keeps looking at Jerry Jeudy, and then he fires it out of bounds or fires it into the hands of somebody else. And sometimes you just have to take what the other team gives you. And with the Vikings, I didn't talk about their defense intentionally because they're good. And they're not going to sit there and let a quarterback stand in the pocket. Got to make quick decisions. The hope is that Dylan Gabriel will be able to make quick decisions and not put us, because if he puts us into second and third and long situations, he's going to get smothered back there.
Yeah, and the important thing I think here, what you're talking about with Flacco, and this word gets thrown around a lot, but statue, right? What does that mean? I think people are kind of misconstruing this term. When we say Joe Flacco is a statue, what we're not saying is that he's not Lamar Jackson. That we're not saying that. Nobody's expecting that. What we mean by statue is there is zero pocket mobility or pocket presence whatsoever. And what you're talking about, with as good as the Vikings defensive line is, what we've seen from Joe, I mean, it would have been a nightmare. But what I want people to understand, and I'm not saying this to defend Dillon Gabriel, but if you want a positive with it, the size factor is a big deal because obviously he is a very small quarterback and he's a left-handed quarterback, which that matters. But when you look at his career as a whole, what has he had to do? He has had to make it a point of emphasis because of his size to maneuver pockets and to find ways to buy time and find the open windows. He has had to learn that at a different level, right? Josh Allen doesn't have to learn that, right?
Right.
So, when you look at this game, if you want a positive for starting a guy like Dillon Gabriel, at the very least, there should be more vision, I guess, with the offense. If Stefanski and Tommy Rees do their jobs correctly, you're going to see more mobility as far as the offense as a whole. If not, you're going to see Dillon get smothered back there because then they're just telling him to do whatever they want him to do. And in that case, we're screwed.
Yeah. And I agree totally that this game is going to be about finding throwing lanes and getting rid of the ball quickly. And you're not going to be looking at big plays downfield. Stefanski will just, any variation will get sucked out of the equation. And I think Dillon Gabriel knows that, he's there to throw to option number one. If option number one's not there, he's going to throw the ball away. And too often option number one is not open. And this is the other problem with the Cleveland Browns, besides their inability to draft, I think Kevin Stefanski's offense is done for. I think people know what to expect. And that is making it that much worse with an ancient offensive line. We just don't have the ability to protect a quarterback and use a guy like Flacco, even if Flacco was even a semblance of what he used to be, to be able to view the field. Nobody's going to be able to scan the field for very long back there. And what they've drilled to Dillon Gabriel, I'm sure, is they hooked him up to like an electrode. And when he sees a red light and he gets a shock, and that's going to be the way he sees when option number one is not open. He's going to, and then he's going to throw the ball out of bounds, and can't afford negative plays. And that's a real hard way of nobody's going to win with this team. Let's just put it this way. We may have a really good defense, but the offensive line is screwed. They can't block for passing, and they can't block for the run either. And
Can I push back on Double P just a little bit? Because I remember Kevin Stefanski called like 55 pass plays with a broken down Baker Mayfield with a rookie tackle playing against TJ Watt and letting Baker Mayfield just get absolutely hammered.
I agree.
So the idea that, Flacco won't be leading the league in attempts. Well, no, now it's going to be Dillon Gabriel. He's still going to call the same style of game, regardless of who the quarterback is.
Well,
hopefully he has more designed rollouts and things to get him on the edge of the defense, to where if the A gap gets blown up, he's not getting trucked like my quarterback.
Well, here's the thing. If I could add on real fast, we're talking about the options. What are the options? I mean, we realistically, if we're looking objectively, the Browns have the worst receiving core in the NFL. I mean, that's. And you already have Cedric Tillman out for this game, which not that he was giving you anything anyways, but we have a cast of characters here, and from a team standpoint, just from a roster construction standpoint, they are begging one of these guys to step up, and the only one that's shown any sign of it is Bond. And Bond at least has the excuse of saying, hey, I'm a rookie who's only been
That's
here
right.
a couple weeks. Where the hell is Jamari Thrash? Why is he not stepping up? And prior to this injury, where the hell is Tillman?
In the preseason, what's going on over there? I'm hearing all this background noise.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is everybody okay?
We're okay.
Okay. I'm just getting this thwunk noise, and it's very distracting. What I can say about the Browns offense, and I don't understand it, Cornelius Lucas was literally forced to play people man to man. They were not even chipping defensive ends against Cornelius Lucas. And the guy that we played, I forget the name, the guy's
Yeah, was
name.
JT, KT, Tevison, or Levison?
No,
or
no, I mean the defensive end who was beating us.
Hutchinson?
Somebody in the Hutchinson. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And that
Michigan.
to me, yeah, that to me is really why they would not chip block him. They just kept, and he was just getting blown by like there was no tomorrow. And I don't understand that. And that's one of the reasons why I say that Stefanski's offense is antiquated and he's not making adjustments. And for Dylan Gabriel, it's going to be hard for him. It would be hard for anybody. And I'm not looking at this as does he win or does he lose? I'm looking at this as
Does he make it out of the game in one piece?
And composure too. I mean, you're looking at somebody. I think that DTR totally lost his composure when he was put into games for Cleveland, and I want to see if he's calm, if he's still in his head, so to speak, and able to focus on what he needs to do, or if he's just in complete scramble mode and falling apart. And I saw something from Jimmy Haslam that was very interesting. And here's what I'm going to say based on what I'm reading. And I don't know if I have the quote. Let me see here. I'm not sure which article it was, but what he was basically saying, Haslam, was we have to get a look at both of our young quarterbacks. That was his quote. And we know from the press that Dylan Gabriel was Kevin Stefanski's choice.
And Andrew Berry.
Not right. And not Snoop Huntley and not Kenny Pickett, but Dylan Gabriel. Not Shedeur Sanders.
No.
The
Neither
owner
one of those assholes wanted him.
The owner is saying something different. He's saying, fine, you want to play Dylan Gabriel, but we've got to get a look at both of them. So winning is no longer really the primary thing here. The primary thing for the Guardians is saving money. And for Jimmy Haslam, it's, well, next year and next year and next year, and I'll just keep making fucked up decisions. But there is disagreement between the owner and the head coach. The head coach will be leaving at the end of this year. He's going to be done. You mark my words. And go ahead.
The interesting thing about it for me is I don't know. From an organization standpoint, I don't know how they feel. It's kind of hard to tell. But at least from my side of things, the way I view it is you have to decide what is the goal here. And to me, the goal for this season, it had to be see what you have. You have 2 first-round draft picks next year. You have to make a decision whether if you have anything in either one of these guys or if you're going to package and move up or who knows. Nobody knows right now. But I rarely, but I will hear, I agree with Jimmy Haslam. I think unless Dylan Gabriel goes out there and lights it up, you do need to see both. I think it would be completely irresponsible not to see both. But, like you said, they've made it very clear as far as the coaching staff goes, and I include Andrew Berry in that, who they want. And Dylan is who they want, and it's who they got. Now the question becomes, what is the line that is too far for Dylan as far as if he goes out and plays bad? What is the line for them to decide, okay, we've seen enough from him? Because right now, Joe Flacco's still listed as the second quarterback, which is fine, but the question is, what is the route to get to at the end of the year? What is the route going to be to end up seeing all of these quarterbacks? And I don't know. And that's kind of the scary question.
Here's one for you. I'm going to ask you, Derek, and I don't understand this completely. Since Judkins has become available, okay, we've seen Dylan Sampson just disappear off the field, and I always get the feeling that the Browns draft board is like a game of 52 pickup and it's like somebody with multiple personality making the selections when it's, I think, a tug of war between the owner and the different people, the head coach and general manager and all that of the team. And Sampson looked like he was doing a real good job catching balls out of the backfield, which you think is would have to be an important thing to do with a rookie quarterback who's not going to have a lot of time in the pocket. So, and we all want to see Judkins run the ball more, because even with this antiquated offensive line, he's getting yardage, and he is, I think they said, the second leading, or no, is he fourth in yards total this year amongst the crop of young running backs. I think he's number 2. I could be wrong, but he's made an impact. And as far as Dylan Gabriel is concerned, he is just got to hang in and rely on the running game and the short passes, and that's why I want to see more Dylan Sampson in the game. And here's another one for you, Derek, to look out for. You're talking about Jamari Thrash. In the preseason, Dylan Gabriel was hooking up with him a lot. I want to see if that continues when he's facing first-string defenses.
Well, somebody's got to. Like I said, I mean, the hole is there. It's a glare. Once you get, and I know everybody hates on Judy right now, and absolutely warranted. But take Judy aside and look at wide receiver 2 down. Who's going to step up? And so far, like I said, I think Bond has really been the only guy that's made strides towards that. But, the point you're getting to there with Dylan Gabriel, like, you need to make it easy for him, right? And I don't say that as an excuse, because he's a 3rd-round pick. And this whole situation is stupid. We're talking about when's the right time to put in a 3rd-round pick or a 5th-round pick. I mean, it's idiotic. Now, to Dylan Sampson, I'm very glad you brought it up, because I don't think a lot of people are talking about it. Dylan Sampson, I believe, was second on the team in receiving week 1. I think he had like 68 yards. And the guy can run the ball. It's not as if he's completely one-dimensional. So I completely agree. I don't understand why he's not playing. I think it is simply that they don't know. I don't think they know how to utilize both Quinshaw Judkins and Dylan Sampson.
Well, neither guy in the backfield knows how to pick up a blitz. I mean, and they can't be expected to when they're young rookies. I saw Judkins really flub one, and I saw Sampson flub 2 in the backfield. And, it's all you got to get in somebody's way. And
but you know how you make that problem not go away, but you cover it up a little bit. You get a quarterback that can shift around and not just stand in one spot. And
Right.
that's, I want people to understand too. Dylan Gabriel can move. He's not fast. He's kind of similar to Shador, where people say, "Oh, there's not any athleticism there. There's not a lot to look for there." There is. It's just not elite. So
Right.
for this game, adding on to what you said there, I think, yeah, get the ball out of his hands quick and let him run. I mean, they don't have tape on Dylan, so if he can catch him off guard, do it.
Well, the Vikings defense has allowed 130 yards in rushing per game. That's the 9th most in the NFL. And as far as Judkins is concerned, I mean, I think people get a little bit jaded in a negative sense about the Browns' lack of a running game. Well, he has 5 runs of 10 plus yards, and Judkins didn't even train, man. He had 1 practice in pads. That's all he had. And of those 5 runs, that included the 38-yarder. And he's getting yardage where the other running backs like Jerome Ford can't even find anything. Judkins is finding and showing really good feet to step through. It's kind of like when we saw Nick Chubb, and I'm not comparing these 2 running backs that way, but if you look at Nick Chubb, the vision is the thing, and then you got to move your feet and put yourself in a position where you can hit where the hole, it's not only there, but where it's going to be a split second from there. And Judkins seems to have that capacity. And, you know, the way we stay on the field, that's going to, you know, we talk about our defense, but our defense gets gassed by the end of games because we're just negative yardage. And I think Bojorquez is hurt. He's not punting nearly as well since that blocked kick where his leg got hurt. And that's another thing about field position. It's been a problem for the Browns. And the way you get around that is with a solid running game. And you can't run Judkins into the ground. You got to use the 2 running backs. And I want to see each of those guys get opportunities, kind of a, you know, the old school thing, the Larry Zonka to the Mercury Morris, you know. Dylan Sampson's quick, he's fast, but you got to get him in open space. Judkins finds open space when it doesn't look like there's much there.
Use your 2 tight ends too. Like, am I dumb, or did we just forget the past that Kevin Stefanski's offense runs through the run game and the tight ends, and then everything else kind of goes
Where is
off of
David
that?
Njoku? Where is he,
Exactly.
Derek?
Yeah.
I mean, it's unusual that somebody who, you know, and Fannin is actually outperforming and seeing more balls than Njoku is. And I don't understand why.
That's a
Well, I
busy
mean-
shower.
The simple answer is he's just a better receiver than Njoku is. But the problem is you have, and I don't know. You could be, I'm not saying either one of these guys are as good, but what the Patriots had back in the day with you-know-who and Gronk, like, in my opinion, the Browns should be just run the ball. I know the line sucks, but you got 2 good backs. Run the ball, find ways to use them, and utilize the damn tight ends. You got Njoku, he's an after-the-catch guy. That's what he is good at. Fannin, coming into the NFL, he's a big-ass receiver. Like, that's what he is. So, I don't know. It's just, it blows my mind that we go from the forced offense changes because of Deshaun, and then now we come in and it's like, okay, we're getting back to it. Well, where's the simple things that this offense had before? Like, where is
Guys, I gotta go, so I'll see you guys on the post game.
Thanks, Brian. We appreciate you showing up. You know, and here's the thing about Fannin, and and again, I'm not comparing players. I'm just pointing out that there's a way of going about your business. when Ozzie Newsome came to the Browns, I think everyone expected, coming out of Alabama, he was a real deal player. I think everybody knew that. But Ozzie Newsome would not do the spectacular. He wasn't a guy who was just going to make these dynamic, 80-yard touchdown plays. He just caught everything that was thrown to him. And he always found a way to use his body to get open. And with Fannin having the magnificent year at Bowling Green, which nobody really cares about, and the sheer number of passes that he caught, and now he comes into the NFL, in which, of course, he has no experience in, and he's doing a lot of the same things. Some guys have a knack, and I think Fannin will get better when he has a quarterback who maybe can buy a little more time. He's got to learn to keep the quarterback looking at him.
Yeah, run towards the ball when the quarterback's scrambling and make
help him out, and get to that open spot. And and you never know what will happen in a game like this. Most people are predicting a very low-scoring game. Rick May has just put his in at 24-13 for the Vikes.
The weather won't be a problem. The field won't be a problem. So the wind could be tricky because none of the teams have ever played there before. But
I'm hesitant to pick the Browns with a rookie quarterback on the field, but stranger things have happened. And
PJ Walker won a game, so
right, it can happen.
Browns tend to win after they have a horrible loss the week before. We can't fucking win 2 games in a row ever. So I mean, I think
the other thing is this: if we win the game, we're 2-3, correct. And the Ravens are going in without Lamar this week.
Yeah,
he's out with the hamstring, so and they're falling further behind, and the Steelers will eventually wake up. All it takes is one good solid sack of Rodgers, and he could be gone. So I'm not saying that what we're playing for is we're in a very mediocre division in which Cincinnati's primary weapon is gone for the season, and that the Ravens have been the absolute opposite of what we would expect. They're giving up points left and right. And Aaron Rodgers is having an unlikely good start to a season for a guy who's 41 years old.
So what happened to Lamar? Is he dead or I don't know.
A hamstring? And look, it starts with these leg injuries, and I've talked about this over and over again on the show. Every one of his so-called injuries that haven't kept him out for long periods of time they're soft tissue injuries. And if they don't want to play him if he's not his lightning quick self, because you see what happens to quarterbacks who were running quarterbacks that got older. They were Michael Vick was no longer Michael Vick. He was had to learn to be a pocket passer because he was going to get slaughtered. These little soft tissue injuries add up. And I really seriously believe that Lamar Jackson is having problems, and it's not going to get easier for him. So we're playing in an unusually weak division here, in our conference.
I agree.
The division is weak. And so I say, hey, we could win this game. We're not in the running for anything, but we could be 2-3. And if Pittsburgh were to lose, they could be one game ahead of us, and we haven't played them yet, and something could happen to Aaron Rodgers. You just don't know.
No.
Well, that's the frustrating thing with this season for the Browns. I mean, I think we all kind of know what it is as far as the goal, but the fact that you have the Bengals who, you once again refuse to do little to anything to protect Joe Burrow. He's out for the 3 months or whatever that is, pretty much a season. They're dead. The Ravens, like you said, with Lamar, and they've had some struggles. They're beatable. And then Pittsburgh. And it's like, out of all years, that if we were just competitive, like if we could stay just competitive enough that we're in the mix within the division, like this would be the year that you would want to do it. And I'm not saying we can't. I still believe, this talented football team to an extent, whatever that means. But but it's like the teams in the division, I feel like we do this every year, but are the Steelers this good? No. I had a coworker who's a diehard Steelers fan, and he texted me after, I want to say it was game 2, because we were talking about the game, and he said, "Dude," he said, "this is no longer the steel curtain." He said, "If anything, this is just the steel napkin." And
Wow.
if that's coming from Steelers fans, right, who
Right.
will talk about Super Bowls from 80 years ago, what does that tell you? So the Steelers are very beatable. But
Yeah, there's nobody in the division right now. I mean, I just can't believe that the Ravens are giving up points. I mean, it would be one thing if their quarterback was a little lame, a little hurt, or whatever the case may be, and they couldn't get a running game going and that sort of thing. But it's really the strength of the team. What we've always said is in the AFC North, it's defense, man. It's for the Ravens and Pittsburgh, it's the linebackers, it's stopping the running game, all of those things. And we're not seeing that from the Ravens right now. And that's unusual. The Steelers, we pretty know what they can get, but they're going to have some tougher games coming up too. And Aaron Rodgers is a guy who, quite honestly, when the going gets bad, the bad gets worse. He's, and the other thing I want to say before I get the hell off here is about Shedeur Sanders. Grow up, you motherfucker. Grow up. You can't be sitting there pantomiming a fake interview in front of reporters because, what you say is, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about what we have to do to get this team moving in the right direction. If I get an opportunity, I'll do the best I can and I'll support my teammates. But he's not mature. And the fact is that he looks like a fucking head case to me. And I'm sick and tired of the Johnny Manziel, Mr. Bula Bula, big man on campus bullshit. You're nobody now, Shedeur. You're nobody. You got to earn whatever it is you get. And same with Dylan Gabriel, who's a quieter chap. That's the way he is. But he's going to get the first crack at it. But at some point, the owner has said he wants both guys. And, he was talking to ESPN radio, Shedeur was saying, I'm ready to play now. It's like, you don't have the foggiest notion what it's like to play now in the NFL.
Can I throw something on real fast?
Sure.
I think I completely agree. I'm not taking away from the point of he does need to wake up. Like he needs to grow up a little bit, and that's obvious. But one thing I wish, if I was in Shedeur's camp, which I personally believe that is the biggest issue, if I was in his camp, what I would be telling him is, hey, dude, you got to understand your face, your name, your voice is going to generate clicks. It just is what it is. And we know in this media game, I'm not saying every question is a setup, but they're absolutely going to test him.
Yep.
And I don't know.
He's getting all kinds of practice to do the right thing, and he keeps doing the wrong thing, though.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the thing I'm getting at is I don't know if he doesn't know that they are testing him or if he just simply doesn't care. Which, if he doesn't care, I understand that, but you got to understand it's not given here. Your dad, as much as I would love to say he could, there's no world where Deion Sanders comes into the NFL as a head coach and makes his son the starter and the world is all peaches and sunshine. That's just not how it's going to happen.
Look, I mean, Deion can't even win in Colorado. He got beat by Brigham Young. I mean, amongst his fans saying, fuck the Mormons, fuck the Mormons. And, of course, the University of Colorado fans who are these rabid people who are hyping up Shador all over, the Browns boards and all over social media. The fact of the matter is, all that big talking bullshit catches up to you. And Dion has an under 500 football program right now where bigger schools are getting bigger and stronger. And he had that first blast of talent, his son and Travis Hunter, and it went away. And they're not anywhere near what they were. And they weren't like national championship to begin with. So I learned at an early age, I respected and loved my father very much, but to try to emulate him is a bad fucking thing to do, because first of all, my dad, he proved himself. I'm a young guy and I had not proven myself. And if I talked with the arrogance that my father spoke with, it's the same thing with Shador. Dion's a Hall of Famer. He's accomplished things. And even as a coach, he brought the Buffalo's program up, although he's struggling now, as I think everyone else would, with college football being sequestered in essence by a few large programs. But he has this opportunity to keep his mouth shut, and he's going to get a chance. The owner has said, and what Jimmy Haslam says, by God, hey, a homeless guy told me to pick Johnny Manziel. What this guy says gets done. He's going to see the field by the end of the season, and he better be ready. And if he's talking shit to the press and he's giving them fodder to put into the press, it's just stupidity. It's immaturity. That's what it is. So I hope, for his sake, that he gets out there. And there are going to be teams who are going to try to beat the shit out of him when he gets out there.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because he's cocky. And, and if you're going to be cocky, you've got to have a better team around you than what the Browns do. That's the fact.
Wow. Sounds like we're winding down here.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here. And
can I ask about my best friend, the BCOD? How's he doing?
Oh, where is he?
And Mr. Celery.
Oh, I see them. Yeah, they're yeah, I see Mr. Celery, and wait,
here he is. Here he is. There he is. Look out, Vikings! He's coming for you. Oh, he's coming for the Vikings.
Yeah, I shouldn't have shown him on there. I shouldn't have done it. Somebody gonna die.
Wow.
Somebody gonna die. But hey, Derek, thanks a lot for joining us. I was wondering what became of you, but don't be a stranger, man. If
he's
you get
man
the time
now. He's wandered the desert and he's come back and he's a man.
I've always believed that I like to give voices a chance to be heard. This program is what it is, has been for 24 years. And I always like to think that maybe there's some people who want to give this a whirl as something that they want to do professionally. Come on and join us. This is just for fun. And we're the richer for having you here, Derek. Thanks for being here.
Well, I'm glad it worked out, because like I said, if I told you just the bullet points of everything that has happened, I'm telling you, you would not believe me. And I'm going as far to say as I damn near died. And yeah, so
not good.
it has been quite the last, I'd say, 2 to 3 years. It has been something else. But
can I ask you one thing before we go?
Yeah.
When you say you almost died, are you talking about like a disease or an illness?
Or an accident?
No.
Emotional stuff?
It was an accident that is complicated to explain. That is kind of the best way I can describe it.
You don't have to talk about it publicly.
No,
nope.
I mean, it's not that I have nothing to hide. I don't care, but it's complicated, because if I say it, then there's going to be a lot of people saying, "Oh, you should be pressing charges or something." So yeah. But
we'll leave it.
But what I was gonna say is I'm glad, because with everything that's going on, and then my since the last time I've talked to you, I've probably had 2 new jobs. So my work schedule is ridiculous. So my set days off are never the same. So it's a true gamble as far as if it's a Monday or a Friday or what.
You know, all you have to do is check out the link that's in the show description, and anytime you want to join us, you're more than welcome. You know that. This is home for you.
I'm more so pissed off because I was told that Bronk is going to be singing the anthems prior to
No.
the game on Sunday.
No,
No.
and you know what I'm worried about?
Antlers. You heard
Moose.
antlers, yes.
Oh, okay.
Moose
Yeah.
antlers.
Yeah.
No, what I'm worried about is the fact that none of the airmen are being paid. There probably won't be any flyover during the game because the B-1 bomber people aren't getting their money this week. So there you go. So
All right. I got to get running here. I'm going out to dinner with my beautiful wife. And so everybody, I didn't even predict, did I? I'll do that before I get out of here. Ever hopeful. The Browns will win 20-17. And I'm predicting that Carson Wentz is going to have one of those days where he is pressured into mistakes. And that's what will be the difference in the game, is if the Browns can continue their streak of games with turnovers.
I think finally we win the turnover battle. Finally.
It's a real chance if we can put pressure on them. And I want to see Mason Graham get his first sack, too.
Yeah.
So,
I think Judkins is going to have a big game. That's my prediction for all you betting people out there.
So 2017 Browns is my pick. And now let's sit back, and we'll be back on Sunday. Probably, you know how it goes.
Daylight. It'll be daylight here.
11 o'clock in the morning for a halftime show and like 12:30 for a post-game show. How's that?
It's going to be like 4 in the morning for Brian.
You'll have the rest of your day to do whatever the hell you want. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. And it's good to be back in Florida. And we'll be back with you come Sunday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.
No.